Hey guys, it's Britt. Tonight I wanted to jump on and talk to you about the Lorianne interview that was done by Elle Bee, also known as Leslie Bass. She did recently change her channel name, but if you're interested in hearing my thoughts, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so this interview was published on April 8th. Today is the 10th, so I took the time to watch this. Now, I'm not subscribed to Leslie, but I give her a round of applause for doing this interview, first of all, but second of all, and most importantly, I give her so much credit for remaining calm and composed, because there are so many times during this interview with Lorianne that I would have just flown off the handle and started calling out lies and BS based on my seat and what I've seen during this lawsuit. So if you guys don't know or you don't remember, Lorianne was described as Katie Joy without a crystal ball's bulldog. She was involved in the lawsuit. She did sign a declaration for the lawsuit. And, you know, this entire lawsuit was a hot mess. I think that we can all agree on that. I did do a video a couple months ago about the Lorianne declaration when it came out. I'll link that down below for anyone that is interested to hear my thoughts from back then versus now. You know, I read some key points. I didn't read the whole document because I've said before, I think reading entire documents is boring, and I'm also not really qualified because I'm not an attorney. So to me, that is not valuable to just read through the whole thing. I would rather give you guys cliff notes and just my overall opinion on certain things. So either way, if you're curious, you can watch that. If not, it's all good either way. But if you clicked on this video, chances are you know who Lorianne is and what role she played in the lawsuit. So this video has 9,825 views as of filming this video. It has 717 likes to 89 dislikes. I'm going to give you guys just some random thoughts. I'm not going to go in order. I'm not going to react to this because honestly, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And there were so many contradictions from Lorianne on this that it would just be very repetitive for me to go through the video and say, she contradicted herself and this is why. It would just become a broken record. So my overall thoughts, let's go over this. So one of the first things that I picked up on that I had a huge problem with, and I've heard this echoed from other people on YouTube as well, that the lawsuit was all for clicks and views. I don't agree with that, and I don't agree with that because something for clicks and views I don't think would have hundreds of thousands of dollars poured into it. There are so many other ways to get clicks and views on YouTube than get yourself involved in a lawsuit for PR or for attention. You know, Tati didn't need the engagement. Tati was at the top of her game. You know, she still has millions of people that desperately want to see her come back to YouTube, return to her makeup content and, you know, faves and fails and testing luxury makeup items. There are people that still want to see that from Tati. So, you know, even after all this, Tati did not need the clicks and views. And as far as it being in favor for Katie, this made her look like an absolute idiot, in my opinion. So as far as the clicks and views thing, I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe it, not for 1 second. I don't think that anyone in their right mind would pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into some sort of media stunt or a trick. And on top of it, that's not even addressing Brown and Salts. Why would they want to waste hours and hours of their time and resources and having their staff work late and look through Twitter threads and YouTube videos for something that was a stunt? It doesn't work in anyone's favor, so I don't buy that. But that's Lorianne's opinion, and that's what she's entitled to. Lorianne also followed this up by saying that Brown and Salts were in it together. I don't buy that either. I don't see what the point would be for them to go back and forth and argue with each other and make, you know, professionalism comments and remarks. It turned into a match, especially there towards the end. So I don't see what in it together even means. I don't buy it. I noticed sort of early on that Lori-Ann was spinning this narrative that she was just some lady that liked to watch YouTube, and she got pulled into this lawsuit like some sort of sacrificial lamb. That is completely inaccurate in my opinion. She was not baited. She involved herself. And this is, I want to use this opportunity to retouch on something that I've said recently. In one of my other videos, I mentioned how some people get too invested in YouTube and too invested in their favorite YouTubers or who they consume. And I did not mean that as an insult, because I get very invested in YouTube and I get very invested in my favorite YouTubers, and I spend hours and hours and hours every week and every month consuming content from my favorites on this platform. That was not meant as an insult to anyone, because I do the same exact thing. But what I meant with that, and what could be carried over to apply to Lori-Ann, is that you have to know where to draw the line. When you are doing things that are extremely distasteful on behalf of a YouTuber because they are your favorite, or if you feel like you are so invested in what's going on YouTube where it's starting to affect your mental health and your emotional well-being, and sometimes even can come over to your physical well-being as well. That's what I mean when I say some people get too invested. It's not to say that people shouldn't be on YouTube or you watch YouTube too much. No, that's not it at all. So I wanted to clarify that, but I do think that it could be applied to Lori-Ann. I feel like she is someone who got far too invested in YouTube, far too invested in having spats back and forth with people. It can be very problematic for one's well-being, just their overall well-being. So I did want to take this opportunity to clear that up, because I said that in the other video, and I realize how when saying it in this video, it needs some clarification. So it's not to say, you know, someone shouldn't watch YouTube for X amount of hours a day. Like, I watch tons of YouTube every day. When it comes to it actually affecting your normal life and your normal, you know, how you feel every day and the actions that you're taking online towards other people on behalf of one of your favorites, I think that's what I know that's what I'm talking about when I talk about drawing a line in the sand. I also felt like a lot of the things that Lori-Ann was saying in this video, it's almost like Katie told her to recite certain things. It was very odd. Based on my opinion, I believe that she is still a strong Katie supporter, even though she says otherwise. It's just a hot mess, and I also think that she and Katie are almost one and the same. Once you watch this interview, if you choose to watch it, or if you've ever watched it, or if you've already watched it, you will see that her personality traits are very similar to Katie. She has this very smug look on, this very self-righteous sort of half smile the entire interview. And it's very interesting to put a face to the declaration and to the tweets and to the things that she has said. Her overall vibe, in my opinion, was very bad, very negative, and very much like Katie. The other thing that she admitted to during this interview was perjury, which I thought was very crazy to even hear her say that. You know, the thing with declarations and signing court documents is that before you put your signature on a court document, side note, before you put your signature on anything, you should know what you're signing and the contents of said letter, application, form, whatever it is. Before you sign anything, you should be reading every single word and understanding what you're signing. However, when it comes to signing a declaration, you are signing that declaration saying that this is the truth under oath. I am not lying. There is no deceptions, half-truths, misinformation in this document, and that is why I'm placing my signature on it. So for her to admit to perjury, I almost thought was comical, but at the end of the day, after consuming this entire interview, I wasn't surprised, but it was just asinine in my opinion. Going back to the clicks and views thing, she also claims that Tati sued Katie for views, and I go back to the same thing that I said before, where Tati didn't need the views. There is no way that she would pour her money into going after a YouTuber for views when she didn't need them. In fact, it would have been better if this lawsuit was never even in the picture, because she could have continued on with her normal beauty content. The whole Bye Sister thing, I think, did set her back some, but she was still getting views and she still had millions of people who adored and supported her. She hasn't been able to make YouTube content because obviously she's been dealing with this fucking 3-ring circus. And I don't know if she'll ever come back to YouTube, but to say that it's for views is false, in my opinion. I guess one of the questions that I had during this was, why do people defend Katie? This is a question that I've had for a very long time. Why do people defend her? Why do people go after others on her behalf? I don't understand how her behavior can be excused or glorified or glamorized. She is not doing anything positive on this platform, in my opinion. We have gone over every single issue with her content, her personality, her platform, her social media presence. I just don't understand why anyone would defend her and her horrible actions. I thought about that and I made a note of it because it's just baffling to me how after all of this time, there are still people who do not denounce her behavior. Another thing that she mentioned, I have a note here that she said that she was never in Uni's Discord and then later on said that she was in his Discord. So I don't understand what's going on with that. But if you say that you're not in someone's Discord, then that means that you're not in someone's Discord. I look at this so much on YouTube where people who lie and tell half-truths get themselves into so much trouble during their time on the platform, whether it is someone who is just a known subscriber or someone on the opposite end where they actually have a channel of their own. Once you start lying, it is so much harder to keep up with your lies than it is the truth. And I'm not putting myself up on a soapbox right now, but I have always made it a point to be honest on my platform because it is so much easier to know that I'm just being honest. I'm just telling the truth. It is so much harder to remember, okay, what did I tell them about this? What did I say about that? Let me, try to remember. No, like you remember the truth like it's memorized because that's exactly what happened. It is so much easier to just be honest and not lie. It was a long time ago where I said it's pretty easy to, especially, have a YouTube channel, don't lie and don't be an asshole. Those are kind of my 2 golden rules, and standing up for yourself is not being an asshole, so that's a whole different topic. But if you're not being an asshole and you're not lying, then I don't really see, what other golden rules are there? Treat others like you want to be treated is a good one, but that would fall under don't be an asshole. And if you're, again, I want to make it very clear, I'm not talking about, if you're standing up for yourself or you're going against someone who has done you wrong or has disrespected you, that's one thing, stand up for yourself all day. But if you're just out here just being a jerk for no reason, then that's a completely different topic. Okay, so I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I don't like spreading conspiracies on my channel, but I do think that this could hold some weight. So I want to mention it to you guys and you tell me your thoughts. Was Lorianne's part in the case something to act as a diversion or a distraction to get the case dismissed. Because it seems like once the Lori-Ann declaration came out, that's kind of when shit hit the fan and started going downhill. So again, it's a conspiracy. I don't know, but what do you guys think about that? Was her role and her part in this inserted into the case as a way to distract and just turn it into a circus so that the court would dismiss it? Okay, so the other thing that I think is Lori-Ann is going to need to be careful, because there were a lot of things said in this interview that, in my opinion, could be taken as defamation or slander on Michael Saltz. The one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was she claimed she told Saltz that she was under the influence of medication and an edible before he interviewed her, and he continued to interview her. I don't think that any attorney would do that, knowing that she was under the influence of anything. I don't believe that that would have been carried out. And I also find it very reckless that she would even say that, because that is a hard-hitting claim to make against, you know, an attorney who has, you know, in my opinion, worked his ass off to be credible and all of the things. Of course, I don't know Michael Saltz personally, but to say he knew I was under the influence and he continued was one of the points during this interview where my jaw dropped. The other thing regarding Saltz that she claimed is that he sent her a bunch of laughing emojis after she signed the declaration. Again, this sounds like the most unprofessional, insane attorney ever. And I just don't believe that any attorney would have someone sign a declaration and then send them like a ha 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 gotcha message. I just don't believe that whatsoever. And I don't know what kind of fantasy land Lori-Ann lives in. Maybe she lives in the same one with Katie Joy, but I just don't believe that that would ever happen. The other thing that Lori-Ann said that I thought was sort of odd was that she didn't really watch Katie, but then became a paying member. I don't know about you guys, but for me to be a paying member on a YouTuber's channel, it would have to be someone that I consume so much of their content and I co-sign everything that they say to a point where I want to give them extra money every month to become a member. I'm not just gonna like come across someone's channel, watch one video and become a paid member. So I don't buy that. The last thing that I want to say is that the overall vibe of this interview was very much, I didn't know, I'm just some innocent lady that was watching YouTube. I don't buy that game for 1 second. I just don't buy her innocent little gig that she was trying to put on. I think that there were a lot of things happening that we will never know about. And I also wonder if she has been in communication with Katie since the lawsuit was dismissed. You know, nobody knows, but at the end of the day, I give Leslie kudos for being calm and patient during this interview. I think she did a fantastic job, but I do believe that Lori-Ann is full of it, and I think that her half-truths and misconceptions will eventually catch up to her. I always love to use karma as a great example, and who knows what will happen. Either way, the amount of lies and BS that were in this interview was just baffling to me. Honestly, I think about it and I'm like, I'm glad that the lawsuit is done, because honestly, there was so much just nonsense that was going on with this whole thing. It was making my head spin. And I do hope that it's refiled. I don't know if it will be. None of us do, not yet. And I hope that next time, if it is refiled, I hope that it's more simplistic and to the point, because there were just so many mini fires going on within this huge topic of the lawsuit that it was just a disaster. At the end of the day, I don't believe that it was for attention or PR or clicks or views or whatever people are trying to say. I think that's absolute nonsense, because there was just too much time, money, resources, and energy poured into this for it to be for attention. That's so dumb. The reason that I really hope that it's refiled just like everyone else is because if it is not refiled, this will only allow Katie to continue to be a toxic YouTuber, not pay for everything that she has done on this platform that has affected hundreds of thousands of people in one way or another. And it will tell her that everything's okay, keep on moving. But in my opinion, I do believe that someone else will be knocking on her door at one point or another. And I would not be surprised if it's not Jim Bob Duggar, because I think that all of the content she's done on the Duggars has been problematic, but more recently she has really taken a turn. She reacted to a wedding that was supposed to be a private ceremony, blasting it on her channel. She didn't show it, but she was telling details and doing a reaction. It was absolutely ridiculous. The lengths that she will go to for content is irresponsible, toxic, and gross. And she will only continue if the lawsuit is not refiled and they allow her to walk away good and clean from this. So either way, you guys, there is a video of Katie's that I want to react to. I looked on her channel the other day, and that's how I saw the wedding thing that she put out. But there's another video on there, and I want to react to it because it just reminds me of why people just have this huge distaste for her and her arrogance. It's not funny, it's not cool, it's not confidence. It is absolute arrogance, ego, and pride. So either way, that'll be coming, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.